Ever since you were a child, you've likely been conditioned to accept a very specific rule. Your inherent worth as a person is directly tied to how useful you are to others. You are expected to always be present, to step up, to be the reliable one. In daily life, this looks like forcing yourself to say yes to a favor when you are already suffocating under your own stress. It's replying to texts the very second your phone buzzes, even when you're completely exhausted, and feeling a constant nagging need to justify yourself if you dare to take an hour of peace. The Swiss psychiatrist Carl Jung had a name for this mechanism. He called it the persona. It's the psychological mask we wear to guarantee that the outside world accepts us. We stay relentlessly available because, beneath it all, we are terrified of being rejected if we stop being useful. We like to tell ourselves that being universally accessible makes us a good person. But placing yourselves at the center of everyone else's stage ensures that you disappear from your own. This excessive availability is a subtle, dangerous form of self-abandonment. You keep pouring your energy out, trapped in the illusion that if you are relentlessly present for everyone else, someone will eventually return the favor when you need them. But the reality is highly transactional. You become an emotional emergency button. People press it when they need a distraction, validation, or a place to vent. And the moment they feel better, they discard you and put you right back on the shelf. When you are constantly accessible, you become entirely predictable. And human psychology dictates that anything completely predictable is unconsciously treated as a tool. No one respects what they don't have to earn. So what happens to the social ecosystem around you the day you simply choose to step back? What happens if you replace your automatic response with silence? That lingering internal emptiness is the inevitable result of operating a bankrupt emotional strategy, an exhaust system where everything flows out and nothing returns. Jung viewed the human mind as a closed system governed by what he called psychic energy. Every thought, every emotion, and every action draws from this single, strictly finite pool of internal power. Think about where that energy goes. When you defend yourself against a baseless criticism, when you over-explain a boundary, or when you twist yourself in knots to please someone who doesn't value you, you are actively hemorrhaging your most precious resource. Living in a state of constant emotional depletion carries a dark consequence. You become highly visible to opportunistic people. Manipulators can sense when you lack the internal reserves to guard your energy, making you incredibly vulnerable prey. True psychological power never comes from winning an argument or reacting to the world's chaos. It comes from holding your ground and sovereignly choosing exactly where and how your internal energy is spent. Jung described projection. People take their unaddressed internal chaos and project it outward. The more available you are, the more you become a blank canvas. They rely on your predictable reactions to soothe their own anxiety, entirely overwhelming your identity in the process. They lock you into this dynamic using silent guilt. You stay and absorb the chaos because you've been conditioned to believe that setting a boundary makes you a bad person, and you are terrified of abandoning them. A manipulator doesn't require active control to keep you in place. They simply rely on your internal programming to trigger a predictable reaction every time they press your buttons. That is why introducing conscious silence is such a devastating response. When you withhold your reaction, the psychological game instantly breaks, and the manipulator is completely stripped of their narrative control. By withdrawing, the blank canvas they rely on disappears. Their projection mask falls off, forcing them into the terrifying position of looking directly into their own internal void. In Jungian terms, this forces them to face their shadow. The sudden anger, the dramatic accusations, the vicious backlash. It isn't about what you did. It is simply their unendurable shadow emerging because they lost their convenient mirror. Accusations of being cold or difficult are often the last defense of someone losing control. Silence has stripped away their mirror, turning your newfound distance into an unbearable threat to their internal status quo. Stepping back will be incredibly uncomfortable at first. You will feel intense waves of guilt. You will worry that you are being selfish, and you will face the inevitable loss of certain relationships. This period of distance serves as a sacred isolation, a psychological sanctuary required to deconstruct a lifetime of people-pleasing conditioning. Jung called this ultimate goal individuation. It is the rigorous, often lonely process of separating yourself from the demands of the collective noise, all so you can finally discover your truly authentic self. Observant, sharp, watch closely during this transition. The people who get angry or actively distance themselves when you stop reacting are providing you the ultimate proof that they never truly valued you in the first place. As the initial guilt burns off, the energy you once wasted on others begins to accumulate within your own system. This containment creates a shift in gravity. People sense a boundary that wasn't there before, resulting in a presence Vex and man's respect simply by being whole. You cease to be a reactor, frantically shaped by the demands of others. Instead, you become a sovereign creator, mastering your own internal energy to shape reality from the inside out. True self-love demands a heavy toll. It requires the absolute courage to be completely misunderstood, to be rejected, and to stand alone, all so you can finally understand and protect yourself.